Afternoon, everyone. LightningESL.com. Parenthood. Parenthood. I'm going to be a father. I'm going to be a mother. Should we have children? Quite a topic, isn't it? Should we have a child or children? Or maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe not. A billion questions come into your mind. To have a child or not to have a child? That is the question. Timing is everything. Is it money? Emotional? What is it? Finance? Is it career? Many things come into your mind when you think about having a child or not. It's true. Is it a one-person family? Is it two-people family? A father or just a mother? What should I do? It's a very hard decision. It really is. Some people think about it a lot. Some people don't think about it at all. They just do it. Let's have a child today. We'll try to have a child today. We'll plan it this time of month, that time of month. We'll plan it for the summertime. Plan it for the wintertime. Some things you cannot plan. It's not like going to the store and there's something on the shelf. No. You have to think about 9 months, 9-month period of waiting. Will the child be healthy or not? Will the child be a boy? Will the child be a girl? Maybe it's twins. I'm a twin. Just an example. Very, very many questions come into mind with a brand new family. What should I do? What should I not do? Maybe not have children. Maybe she cannot have children. Maybe you can't have children. Maybe you're not ready for children, and so on. As you can tell, there are many, many questions, pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages. But one thing you have to remember, it's a living being. It's not just like a dog or a cat or a bird, all right? Chances are that person, whoever comes around in 9 months, is going to be around for a while. It's a full-time responsibility. It's not just grab a child, here comes a child, put into daycare center for the rest of his life or her life. You have full responsibility for somebody else's life. It's a huge responsibility. There are books galore out there, how to raise a child, how not to raise a child. Do you want to raise a child like your parents did, like you are? Do you want to not raise them like your parents did? Maybe you object to how you were brought up. Maybe you should have done something different. Maybe your parents should have done something different before you were into this world. Right. Again, many, many questions. Parenthood covers many, many topics. It does. Psychologically, finance, career, responsibility, sheltering, food, clothing, etc. It goes on 18 years. It goes on 25 years. It never ends. It's true. I have 3 grown children. I can tell you this firsthand. Every child is different. Every personality is different. And you worry. Of course you worry. It's a living being that you are responsible for its entire life, for as long as you are around. It's true. And hopefully what you pass down is good things, your values and traditions and conditions of life. Learn about this. Learn about survival skills. How will they survive in today's world compared to my world when I was younger, much younger, which of course is different. I was born 100 years ago. The world was different. It was. Price of food has changed. Price of everything has changed. The cost of going to school has changed. That's right. So you have to think about these things, bringing a child, boy or girl, into the world. You have to think about that. Who's going to be responsible for X? Who's responsible for this and that? Who are the daily duties? Something happens, who's responsible? Something doesn't happen, again, who is responsible? How about school? How about a doctor? How about clothing? How about formula? How about a stroller? How about diapers? And so on and so on and so on. It's ever ending. It never stops, does it? It never ever stops. And you're hoping you raise your child to the best of their ability so they can survive on their own, take care of themselves in the future, have a plan of action if they can for the future. Hopefully you had a plan. You can pass on that knowledge down to your child. So as you can see, there are many things you have to think about. Will I read every day to my child? Or let the babysitter do everything? Maybe you don't have a babysitter. You have to rely on parents, relatives, and friends to take care of the child. Maybe you're in career. You have no time for a child. And you might say to yourself, why have a child in the first place? That's right. Not everybody should have a child. I realize biologically women are built for it to have children. They are. Are you going to have it naturally or artificially? As you can see, it's a lot of choices and questions. Questions about this, question about that. There's no such thing as a perfect way of raising a child. There isn't. Every personality is different. Their growth spurts are different. Their temper tantrums are different. There's growth of their teeth, growth of their bodies, growth of their mind, how they think about things. Who's going to cut their hair? Who's taking the child to the doctor? Who's going to walk the child outside, get some fresh air, play in the playground? Who's going to watch over them like a hawk? Yeah, many, many things you have to think about. Are you ready for this type of responsibility? A lot of young parents are not. And it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s, depending how life treats you. Are you ready to raise a child in your own name, possibly maybe your own image? That's right. In a sense, when a child is born, they have a blank slate. You're trying to mold the child into your image, in a sense that mold the child for betterment. Ready for this, ready for that. Start school early, in a sense that homeschool early, long before in kindergarten. Their letters and numbers and colors. Get them used to different smells, different tastes of food. And the earlier they are learning all this, easier it'll be for you, because the child will be used to this and used to that. Used to dogs and cats and other pets. Used to other children of their age. That's right, long before kindergarten starts. In my opinion, the child should be used to a lot of things. Try different foods. Find out if the child is allergic to this, allergic to that. Get him outside to play. Get her outside to play, and so on. As you can see, a lot of things you have to think about. Can you handle all this, or you cannot handle this? You have to make time for a child. They're not going to make time for you. They don't know any better. They were just born. They're just hatched in a sense. So you have to raise the child as if it's you learning all over again. I say again, you have to raise the child as if it's you learning all over again. Learning how to walk, how to crawl, how to run, how to jump safely. Yeah, ride a bicycle. Take them to the park. Learn how to play hockey, play baseball, play football, and so on. Play sports. If you're not into sports, what is the child going to do? He needs or she needs exercise. That's right. I know it sounds hard to believe, but you have to have a child doing exercise. It's for their health, fresh air, and so on. Let them play in the mud. Obviously, I can go on and on and on. But again, it's your child or not a child. You have to think about this. Is your relationship going to hang on like glue as the child is growing from birth till 18, 19, 20, and so on? Will the marriage fall apart? Who's taking responsibility to raise that child? The cost of the child going into extracurricular activities, going to hockey, like I said, or baseball, or swimming class, or dance class. All different classes cost money. Who's going to take them there? Who's going to take them back? You have to think about all these important parts of raising a child. Yeah, maybe you didn't go through all this. Maybe everything was paid for by your parents. But what happens if you don't have those funds to pay for all this? And you want your child to learn swimming, which I believe is very, very important. Who's going to pay for swimming lessons? Who's going to take them to swimming lessons? And so on. As you can see, you have to think about this a lot. And remember, like I said earlier, not every group of parents has to have a child. There's no law. Maybe physically she cannot have children. Things happen. You can always adopt. You have to really think deep down in your soul, in a sense, do I really want to raise a child? I've had teachers, and not just teachers, but people in my background, who told me, I do not want to raise a child in this environment. Is this environment the same as the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s? Yes. Technology, pollution in the air, the food types, and so on. Of course it's different. But you want to pass on your true values to that child? Yes or no? Do you want the value of your personality into your child to pass on to everybody else and so they can grow and be better than you? They need a teacher, a coach, a mentor, which is in this case the parents. So these are the things you have to think about long before you decide within your partner to have a child or not. You have to think about this. It could be a very, very long conversation, a very long and tenuous conversation, knowing the inner core of your beliefs. Can you pass it on to a child? Who's going to be responsible for what? Of course, you can't forecast everything for the future. Maybe that child might not be perfectly healthy when it's born, or later develop issues. Can you handle that mentally and physically and financially? Because things happen. No such thing as a guaranteed perfect life for a child. There isn't. A child might run into this, run into that. He might have illnesses, like I mentioned earlier. He might hurt himself by accident. You never know. Are you willing to take that risk? Not to take that risk. Can you handle the situation or not? I'm not saying this is easy. Of course not. I'm going to be honest. It is not easy. But if you have a partner who thinks like together all the time, you're on the same playing page in a sense, then yes, you can go forth and have a child. But if you're not on the same page about raising a child, you're going to have conflict. A lot and a lot and a lot more of conflict to raise that child. Because you're going to say, well, I'm responsible for this. You should be responsible for that. And what happens to the marriage? And the child is in the middle. Who takes charge of the situation? The father? The mother? No one? You've heard bad stories out there about divorce rates, like crazy. In my generation, 100 years ago, the divorce rate was like 5% of the population. Today, 2023, the divorce rate is almost 75%. Yeah. So, unfortunately, things have changed. The economy has changed. COVID-19 is over now. A lot of things have changed. Mentally, physically, financially. So raising a child today, emotionally and financially, is much more difficult. But if you're really dedicated parents to have a child successfully, no matter what, then I'd say, yes, you're ready. But think long and hard of this choice. It's a choice everybody goes through. Everybody goes through. If you don't want that responsibility, you don't want that thing, then don't even think about having a child. But all I can say is my perspective, Mr. Little at lightningesl.com, is the greatest thing you can have is a child. It is the greatest thing you can have. When I talk about memories, part of you is passed down to your children. Hopefully the good things. But you have memories in a sense forever. Forever. You can't put a price on a memory. You can't. Unless you're with your child and see them fall, see them walk, see them ride a bicycle, hit a baseball, play hockey, whatever it is. Sure, it costs money. Not everything is free. My parents didn't have money when I was younger to pay for this. I went on my own responsibly and safely, and I played a game all the time. There was always a game somewhere. I didn't wait for somebody else to show me how to do this or that. Sure, I fell. Sure, I cried. But again, my generation is different than your generation, 2023, April of 2023. So again, think carefully and long before you decide to have a child or not. Remember, it's not always about finance, career, atmosphere, where the product you are, in a sense, where you're raised from. You can change all that. Yep, you have to be really, really determined about that to change everything. So again, parenthood? Yes, no, maybe, unsure? Listen to this at lightningesl.com. I'm also available on Spotify, iTunes, many things. You can always reach me at lightning@rogers.com. That's LIGHTNING at rogers.com. Here at lightning@rogers.com, as well as lightningesl.com. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.